My name's Jacob. If you had told me a few months back that a vacation would mark the end of my relationship, I would have laughed it off. Honestly, it sounded absurd. But standing where I am now, I realized it was never just about a trip. It was about what that trip uncovered. It all started a few weeks earlier when Rose mentioned she was planning a getaway with her girlfriends. "It's going to be incredible," she beamed, eyes dancing with excitement. Just the girls, relaxing, unwinding, letting go a little. I knew her friends, and I knew exactly what letting go looked like when it came to them. Staying out till dawn, tossing back drinks, harmless but suggestive, flirtation with random guys, and more often than not, waking up with regrets. They weren't malicious people, just reckless. But Rose had always promised she wasn't like them. At first, I kept my concerns to myself. I trusted her, even if I wasn't fully comfortable with the company she'd be keeping. But then things started shifting. What began as a quiet spa retreat quickly morphed into a beachside escape. A few days later, the destination changed again, this time to Miami. Supposedly, it sounded more exciting. Still, I held my tongue, until one evening at dinner, when the biggest warning sign arrived. Rose was sitting across from me, mid-bite, when she said casually, "Oh, hey, babe. Remember Lucy's boyfriend, Kevin? He's coming on the trip." She barely paused before adding, "And he's bringing some of his friends, too." I slowly set my fork down. Wasn't this supposed to be a girls-only trip? I asked. She gave a small shrug, brushing it off like it was no big deal. "Yeah, well, plans changed, but it's still going to be fun." I raised an eyebrow. "So, I'll tag along too, then?" Her expression faltered, first with hesitation, then a flicker of guilt. "Babe, it's my friend group. You've never really meshed with them. I don't think you'd enjoy yourself." "Maybe not," I said, trying to stay neutral. "But I'd still like to be there." She exhaled, clearly uncomfortable. "I don't know, Jacob. You always seem out of place around them. I think you should sit this one out." I leaned back in my chair, trying to remain composed. "Let me get this straight. You want to be okay with you going on a trip that now includes a bunch of random guys, while I stay home and just wait?" Her tone turned sharp in an instant. "So you don't trust me?" I let out a slow breath. "You're not exactly making it easy to. You've been vague this whole time. So tell me, who exactly are Kevin's friends?" She looked away, and for a split second, her silence told me everything. "Rose," I said, my voice firm, "is your ex going to be there?" She exhaled, confirming what I already knew. "Yeah, but it's not a big deal. We're on good terms. It's been years. He's with someone else now. And I have you." I folded my arms. "And yet, you didn't think it was worth bringing up. You didn't even consider inviting your boyfriend." She rolled her eyes. "Because it's my circle. You've never really had fun with them. You always just feel out of place." I gave a humorless chuckle. "So, let me get this straight. Having your ex there and a bunch of random guys? That's not awkward. But me being there is." "You're overthinking it," she muttered. "Kevin and his friends are just there for the party. I'm not going for them." I shook my head slowly. "Do you even hear yourself? The fact that you're so resistant to me coming along, it says more than you think." Her eyes narrowed, and her voice turned cold. "I don't need your permission, Jacob. You don't owe me." "This isn't about control," I replied calmly. "It's about basic respect. Would you be fine if I went on a trip like this, with my ex tagging along?" She scoffed. "I wouldn't care. I trust you." "Well, I don't feel the same right now," I said, my voice steady, "because you won't even consider having me there." That was the moment the first cracks began to show. In the days that followed, Rose and her friends started labeling me as controlling. They threw around words like insecure, toxic, and dramatic. But deep down, I knew I wasn't trying to control her. I was just paying attention, trusting my instincts, seeing the signs for what they were. Even then, I stayed longer than I probably should have. Maybe Jacob sighed. Part of me hoped she'd eventually come around, realize how much it hurt to have my feelings pushed aside like they didn't matter. But then came the night before her flight. She was in our bedroom, suitcase open on the bed, casually tossing in outfits while laughing on the phone with Lucy about all the fun they were about to have. I stood in the doorway, just watching her, a slow-burning frustration rising in my chest. When she finally ended the call, I spoke up, "Rose." She looked over, slightly startled. "What?" I took a steady breath. "Just so, I won't be here when you come back." Her eyes widened, like she'd been caught off guard by a plot twist she never saw coming. "Wait, what?" "I'm done," I said quietly but with certainty. Her face dropped. "You're seriously breaking up with me over a trip?" I shook my head. "No, I'm walking away because this trip showed me who you really are." She crossed her arms, her tone suddenly defensive. "And who do you think I am?" "Someone who doesn't value my boundaries," I replied without flinching. "Someone who refuses to admit this whole situation crossed the line. You chose a getaway with strangers and your ex over the relationship we built, and I finally accepted that I deserve better." She opened her mouth as if to argue, but no words came out. I continued, "Go. Enjoy your trip, but don't expect to come back to the same life." She scoffed, trying to seem unbothered. "I don't think you're serious. But fine. If you're going to be this insecure, maybe we're better off apart." That was it. No dramatic tears. No apologies. Just indifference. I gave a small nod, grabbed a duffel from the closet, and began tossing in clothes. "Yeah," I said, "it's really happening." She stared like she couldn't wrap her head around it. Then her voice sharpened. "This is manipulation, Jacob. You're not actually leaving. You're just trying to make me feel guilty." I didn't respond. "We'll talk to the therapist when I'm back," she continued, rolling her eyes. "Clearly, you've got issues to work through. You'll be here when I return. I know you." Still, I said nothing. I just kept packing. And when she walked out the door the next morning, suitcase in hand, laughing again on another call, I packed up the rest of my things and left. She texted while she was away. A few times. Then her friends reached out. Even her ex messaged me. They all insisted nothing happened on the trip, that it was all innocent. But I didn't care anymore. I blocked them all. Because by then, the truth had finally settled in. Rose was always going to do what Rose wanted. She never made room for my feelings. Never met me halfway. It had always been her terms or nothing. And that wasn't a partnership. It was a dead end. So I did the only thing someone should do when they realize they're the only one fighting to hold things together. I left. I didn't stick around to see how things played out between her and her ex in some alcohol-fueled weekend of bad decisions. I didn't need to. Rose aside. "Hey, it's Rose. I guess it's my turn now." When Jacob told me he was leaving the night before my trip, I didn't take him seriously. I honestly thought he was bluffing, being dramatic, like usual. He always had this poetic, intense way of seeing the world, always attaching deeper meaning to everything. I figured he was just making a statement. So I left anyway. And now, I've come home to silence. The apartment's empty. No notes. No trace of him. Just a phone that won't light up, no matter how many times I check it. I collapsed onto the couch and stared at the floor as the weight of it all hit me. The drinks, the laughter, the music, the long conversations in the dark, and my ex. I won't pretend I was clueless. I won't lie and say it just happened. It didn't. In that moment, surrounded by noise and nostalgia, I made a choice. I let the buzz of the night and the familiar warmth of attention make me forget what I had. I didn't think about Jacob. I didn't think about the damage. I just gave in to the past, to the rush, to the lie that it wouldn't matter. And now, sitting here alone, I finally get it. Jacob wasn't trying to control me. He was trying to protect us. He saw something in me that I wasn't ready to face. And when I crossed the line, he did what I never expected. He walked. No yelling. No scene. Just gone. I texted him, "Can we talk?" No answer. I called, straight to voicemail. Tried again. Nothing. Eventually I stopped, because deep down I already knew. I made my choice. I chose the thrill of the moment. I chose the easy route. I chose to ignore the person who loved me. And for what? A guy who wouldn't even meet my eyes on the flight home. A few forced smiles and uncomfortable silences. I thought maybe, just maybe there'd be something real in that mess. But there wasn't. Not for him. For him, it was just a weekend. For me, it cost everything. Now I'm left in the space Jacob once filled, finally understanding what I had. He loved me, and I didn't deserve it. He's gone,